Howdy guys, how we doing? Welcome back to another video of Amikin Survival. How we doing? Hope you guys are well. So, it's been a little bit in terms of the last content released, and for those that hadn't seen that, or basically if this is your first time watching, welcome to the channel, but also more importantly, check out the previous video where I went through some of the updates and information and gave you my thoughts about what I felt like the update, how the update presented itself, how it performed, and what was the overall consensus amongst this growing community. So if you guys want to head over to my channel, I'll leave the playlist somewhere in the description there, just in order for you guys to have a bit of a peek ski and yeah, have a look at that, and plus check out all the other previous videos on Amikin if this is something that interests you. So enough about that, let's get on with it. Now, being that it's a very early release game, there's really not much to do in the ways of content and what you guys can do in terms of, you know, playing the game and things like that. Eventually we're going to hit a plateau, especially for those early adopters, mainly those early adopters, because anytime that anyone new watches this video, we don't know exactly when that would be and how far along the game has progressed, things like that. Obviously a lot will change, and then there might be an abundance of things to do, which will mitigate a lot of what I'm about to say or suggest to, you know, for things to do. So I guess for the present time and at the time of this recording, it would be relevant for those people as of now. So I'll give you I guess where I'm at with things. So I'm nearly level 35 and the maximum is level 40, so I'm 5 levels away from hitting max level. So where does that leave me? Where does that leave me, you know, for things to do while we wait for future content to be released and, you know, and things of that nature? So I guess for me right now, I'd probably give you guys a quick tour of my base, and just to sort of give you guys a bit of an understanding on where I'm at with things. So as you can see, I've got these standard chests, or the universal boxes is what they've dubbed them. They're all crafted. Actually, there's not really a lot of things to be there's really not much else towards it, you know, if you know what I mean. But I've only got the glasses in here because I don't think at the moment the glasses is available to go into this storage unit over here for whatever reason. Whether or not that was a glitch or anything like that, see, it's still grayed out, so I can't pop that in there in the equipment storage, yet I can actually put in other clothing and things of that nature in there. So I'm not too sure what that is all about. So devs, if you're watching, and I know you guys watch my videos of course, but yeah, let's have a look at that, see if that can be something that could be changed. I think I'm hoping that could be a thing that might be able to be changed. But let's go around the grounds and show you. I've got the incubator, I've got the console of course, which is obviously a staple or requirement. And I've got all the workstations. Basically, a lot of them are either at level 2 or level 3, just to give you guys a bit of an idea. And I've got a few things on the go at the moment. As you can see there, repair bench is sitting pretty, medicine lab, the Amikin lab, and of course the stone cutter. And then we've got the storage units. Now, what I've actually done with pretty much all the storage units, I've upgraded them to tier 2 because I felt like that was a necessity in order for me to, you know, sustain enough resources and for things that I want to do as sort of, you know, as time goes on. Now, as you guys are seeing, I've got a ton of wood, which I'll get into the reason why I've got that happening at the moment. But as you can see, I've got other bits and pieces, of course. I'm just showing you guys as a quick gesture here. So as you can see, there's some of that there. And of course, I've got a lot of essences as well at the moment. And I've got a few eggs, as you guys would have just seen. So with that, and obviously there's a few other bits and pieces around here. So what am I doing to, I guess, whether, depending on how you guys look at it, but for me, preparing myself for the next phase and whatever that might be. Unfortunately, I'm not privileged to know that information ahead of time. I pretty much know when you guys know yourselves. So for me right now, what I'm focusing on is just gathering resources, basically. So as you would have seen, I've got a ton of wood at the moment, and I haven't converted those into planks, and for the reason for that at the moment, and I don't know whether or not if it's something to do with the game at the moment in its current form, mechanical wise. I'm not too sure whether or not if this should be looked at, but the Amikins, and I know you can basically change this as well as I'm sort of, you know, dribbling along, but I can see that a lot of Amikin sort of take priority to craft, well, not craft, but harvest the timber yard as a first priority. And yes, I know the two new farms or the two yards as essentially new, which I'll go back into a moment. But I've noticed in the last week or so that the timber yard had always taken precedence over everything else. If you haven't instructed your Amikins to craft anything else, right? So what I mean by that, any sort of workbench related activities, they go back to the timber yard, which is fine. I don't mind that at all. But for me, where I feel like I need the presence is basically over here. So the fiber garden and the berry garden as well. So I need my Amikins sitting here and harvesting and doing everything they can to, give me more resources. And look, to their credit, they are doing it. What I find is a little gripe, though, unfortunately, is I don't know why there's no multiple Amikins harvesting this. And this is something that I want to know. And whether or not if it's a user error on my end or if it's just a game limitation as of now. But if I were to go into here and start helping out, then yes, assistance will be met, and then my Amikins and plus my player can harvest this a lot quicker. But as you can see, I've got a hell of a lot of Cora Lipper, and I wanted to sort of demonstrate this as well because there's only one worker per station, which I feel like there should be multiples per station, because when you are crafting any sort of anything from the workbenches, you can get up to 3 to 4 crafting at one time, and basically expediting that as as a quicker craft as opposed to not. And as you can see, they're just loafing around, the majority of them. So it doesn't make sense for me to leave these guys unattended and not doing anything. So what I'll be doing is that these guys here, I'm going to remove from workers. I will enlist this flare hoot. Actually, Swimanda, I might leave you alone. I'll leave you as a worker, and for now I'll put in Mio Winko as another, and then everyone else can go. And as you can see straight away, they're pretty much to work, and they're doing their bits and pieces, which is what I want them to do, basically. So that's obviously going to make my life a lot easier in terms of getting resources done and getting things crafted when I'm AFK, and I would have expected that this would continue on, especially when I'm AFK as well, because I feel like this is sort of hit and miss. And don't get me wrong, it works, and I can see that there has been progress made when these Amikins are farming, but I don't see too much in the ways of resource output in other respects as well. So it's just a bit of a shame. And going back to it, the reason why that I've got the timber yard maxed out is because I'm wanting to ensure that my other Amikins are actually doing the farming. So I'm leaving that as a fully stacked unit ticked, leave it alone, and then basically just allowing my other Amikins to do the farming without having the issue of them prioritizing the timberland. And that's basically the timber yard. And that's the reason why that I went down that pathway and just sort of explained that in a bit more of an in-depth nature. Some of you may not appreciate it, others might appreciate it, but I just wanted to sort of get that off my chest. So at least you guys sort of know where my thoughts are at. But let me know in the comment section down below. Do you guys feel the same? Is it something that you guys have noticed as well in your own adventures? Let me know in the comment section. Okay, so the other thing that I've been doing and sort of getting to a point where I've pretty much ready to go with everything else is capturing a lot of Amikins. And the context around this for me is more trying to get my Amikins ready for evolutions. Okay, so at the moment I'm nearly ready to go with my Mio Winkle here. In fact, I can pretty much upgrade him to a level 5 star, which will enable me to go and do the evolution route as well, which I'm just purposely holding off at the moment. And the reason for that mainly is because I want to prioritize my Peblo here to go to the next phase, which will become a fighter going forward. Yes, it is a level 30, which is 5 levels down, but I'm sure this evolution of Peblo will basically work its way up and basically match my character's level in no time at all. And the other one would be my my fawn, and I can probably go ahead and do that as well and just rank this fawn up to a 5th star. and then I'm ready to go with an evolution of my fawn into a blaze horn, I believe it is. So yeah, so I've got pretty much 2 ready to go, actually 3, sorry, ready to go, but I'm going to prioritize my fawn and my Peblo, and I think, do I have which flare hoot it is? Well, this is level 2 flare hoot, so this is actually going to be a fairly powerful flare hoot as well. And I know flare hoot doesn't evolve, which I'm sure that will change as time will go on, but yeah, that's going to be another powerful one. So I would focus now on capturing as much flare hoots as possible. Now I don't have the coin to rank it up to the next level, so I can't actually continue on getting more flare hoots. I can, in a sense, to get them ready, but I'm gonna max out my inventory quite quickly. So there's some of the things that I'm focusing on at the moment, but there's other things that you can obviously do as well, and this obviously involves the incubator, which is basically part of the latest update, which we're going to basically go and do, because I've already got nearly 15 out of 30, sorry, 15 out of 50, what am I saying, of eggs hatched, which is a good thing for me. So yeah, we can continue on and do that for the most part for the remainder of this video. But I just want to, go through this with you guys. And for those that are either struggling, for things to do, because I know there's a lot of people that have actually explained or expressed, their concerns as well, which, look, it is what it is, right? There's always going to be those early adopters that are obviously sprinted ahead, and they have already, gotten their way through to end game for this moment or this point in time. And what I mean, with the whole end game situation, it's not so much that it is considered end game at the moment, because it's still very early game. We haven't, hit the heights of this game, and there's not enough content to go around for that matter. So for now, we're going to be in a phase where we're just going to be cruising along. I think cruising along is probably the right term for now, until we sort of get to a point where we're ready to go for another bout of updates, and so on and so forth. I'm going to prioritize this and just grab all this. My Zappy, my god, is an absolute beast at the moment, and I know a lot of other players that are probably level 40 at this point will have even stronger Amikins than that of myself, and especially if they do have Zappy would be a lot more stronger for their variations as opposed to mine. But look, I tell you what, it is OP at the moment, and look, my advice is to try and take advantage of that, and especially in this early phase of the game where a lot of us are just waiting for things to happen. So, and which isn't a bad thing, because look, I'm barely doing any. I'm not doing any sort of tax. I'm letting Zappy do the whole song and dance for me. As you can see, just making light work wherever we go, sort of thing. So, yeah, I mean, right now I can cruise along and I can work in this sort of efficiency where I don't really need to exert myself too much, wasting too many resources. And for a lot of people, they're at a stage that they either have discovered this game and they're just playing through it and they've got things to do, or they're basically in between where they've got things to do but they're using a lot of resources to get there. And don't get me wrong, we've all gone through that. And a lot of people are still going through that, and we are getting to a point where we're just waiting now for updates, and which is totally fine. But like I said, for a lot of other people, they're still grinding out the game, which is where things are at. So going back to it, a lot of people right now are basically just in a phase where they're waiting for updates, and basically the only thing that's going to keep them occupied is basically systematically what I'm doing at the moment, or they're just going to find and hunt for eggs as much as they can until they get the evolution or those. Well, I don't know exactly what you would call them, but I'm calling them evolved forms of Amikins, or Amikins that you can't basically capture at this point in time, which I would imagine that will change in coming updates. So for now, this is very Westland-esque, and what I mean by that, for those that don't play Westland, I cover that obviously on my channel, so if you guys want to check out Westland to see how the OG of Helio games have performed in the past, definitely go ahead and suss that out. Alright, well, Zappy make light work of that aqua disc there, which he is done. And I got myself another egg, which is fantastic. And as you can see, there's a plethora of essences here. Should I be collecting these? It might be a good idea. I could potentially get quite a bit of essences, which I probably should be doing, only because we don't know what future updates are going to hold and how that is going to categorically change the landscape of the game. And it might not even, actually. But going back to it, so right now, I'm in this phase where I'm just collecting certain things, and for me, for the most part, I'm trying to prioritize heals. Well, really, yeah, heals. That's all I'm really prioritizing right now. I'm not really doing anything else. That's basically changing my gameplay, so to speak. So I am just going about it, doing what I need to do, and yeah, that's basically it. But for my specific use case, I'm down on these resources, and that's the only reason why I'm doing it. And I'm trying to sort of pump myself up with using my worker and Amikins to, to sort of make up the difference for me. But the only thing that I'm not able to get right now is obviously heals. So heals is the bottleneck for me, and I'm sort of trying to work in an efficient manner so that I can actually benefit more in harvesting heals as opposed to utilizing so many other resources as well along the way, and basically come to a point where I'm just, well, I wouldn't say floundering, but I mean I'm not being as efficient as I should be. So I guess I'm sort of leaning on my wealth of knowledge when it comes to playing survival style games. This is basically in line with what I would typically do with other games as well at the same time. So I'm just sort of doing what I can. That's basically it. There's really not much else to it, and it'd be fairly it might be fairly boring for a lot of people, which I totally get. A lot of other people would be focusing on other things, which is great, but I think a lot of people would be in a very similar position as I am, where I am in the game at this point in time. So give me your thoughts and comments on where you guys are at playing this game so far. Are you in a similar situation as me? Have you found yourself something to do? Let me know in the comments what you guys are up to, basically. But anyway, I'm just continuing on, just collecting. As you can see, there's really not much else for me to do right now. But yeah, so I sort of tend to mix things up, right? So I might go through, depending on how long you play the game per day. So for me, look, at the moment, the way that I'm sort of structuring and playing my game, and how and when I go to sort of record and things like that as well, it sort of basically puts me in a spot where I can only do certain things at certain times of the day. So for me, I work full time, and the way that I structure myself is I basically try and find spare time. So my spare time consists of me commuting to work, because the way I commute is I utilize public transport, because it takes me an hour to go into work, and then obviously an hour back on the way home. So I sort of make that time my gaming time, whereas I just grind. So when I grind, I basically just grind, and I'm doing basically what I'm doing with you guys at the moment, as we are going along, just picking up resources as we do things. And then when it comes time to record videos, I'm in a place where I can just quickly record videos without having to, obviously do too much in preparation for said video. And that's the life of a content creator, basically. You want to sort of try and make yourself available when you're trying to make content for everyone, for you guys to watch, and obviously be entertained, and hopefully you guys are entertained. That's my ultimate goal, basically, making sure that you guys are entertained, you guys are informed and educated of the game, and if there's anything that I can offer in the way of tips and tricks and things of that nature, hopefully you guys take value from that, which it sounds like you guys do, because I get nothing but positive feedback, which is great, which is what I'm after, right? But any suggestions along the way is also more so important for me as well. Constructive criticisms. There we go. We've got to level up. Look at us go. So we're on to level 35, near on to max level, which is fantastic. So yeah, that's basically where I'm at with things, as of now. So the other thing I wanted to touch on as well. So when I'm not grinding for resources as a whole, I'm capturing Amikins. So what I referenced earlier in the video, where I've been capturing Amikins, I sort of do this as I go along. So I sort of try to tend to mix things up, or I try to do it all in one kind of thing. So it just depends on how I'm feeling, I guess. Let's go ahead and feed good old Zappy there. So if I'm at the Stone Echoes, I'm basically capturing Amikins and I'm picking up resources along the way, which obviously slows me down. Whereas with this, I'm just running around and I'm just literally picking up resources as I go along. So there's really not much to it. Wow, you just one-shotted. Let me see your attack power now. You're 167. Damn, you are full on. And I've got to get my fawn up to level 35. I'll be keen to see. Actually, I'll be keen to see when you evolve. Honestly, to be perfectly honest with you guys, evolution of into Blazehorn is going to be awesome, I reckon. And you're going to do me well once that happens, because obviously we don't know where what the next zone is going to be like and what type of Amikin elements that we're going to be dealing with. So I guess part of my rationale for getting other Amikins up to speed, because I've got my Swimander. My Swimander is max level at the moment, so it'll obviously be max level by the time I get back to it as well. If I swap that out, it'll be sitting on level 35, because I think my understanding is all of your starters would carry your base level. So you're already at max level, and to sort of demonstrate that, let me just kill this Miro Winkle real quickly, or I'll let Zappy do that for me. So let's quickly demonstrate that. So you can see Zappy has already got his experience bar all the way up to the maximum there. So if I go to my Swimander, it's already level 35 and it's already max. Notice that I haven't actually got Swimander with me per se. So my understanding is all of your starting Amikins will share that trait as well. I don't know whether that's supposed to be a thing, or is it a glitch, or is it purpose built for that very reason as your starting Amikin. I don't know. But again, like I said, it's just a thing, and I just wanted to sort of highlight that with you guys while I was in thought in that. So at least you guys are aware of that. So the other thing I've been obviously focusing on is trying to max out my levels, because I want to get as strong as possible. And for that very reason, when those updates do drop, I'm obviously ready. I can go into those new zones with little interruption, and I've got strong enough Amikins to help me and support me as I go along. And I guess that's where things are at. I guess for a lot of reasons, a lot of people do want to have content, uploaded as as frequent as possible. I know for a fact, and it's already been mentioned in the devs Q&A and everything else in between, that they are going to try and commit to monthly updates to try and make it as frequent as possible for everyone, which is obviously what we want to know and what we actually I don't have enough space. There we go. I'm already maxed out. So I guess that's something to obviously look forward to, and you guys can know with certainty that there will be updates as time goes on. There's obviously not going to be any sort of delays or anything like that. I'm sure if there will be delays, there's going to be some obvious communications around that subject too. But I guess for now we can sort of take comfort knowing that they are actively working on the game, so to speak, and we're going to be seeing future updates as time moves on. So I guess that's obviously a good thing. But yeah, like I was saying before, right now my motive and my focus is to try and get certain resources. I don't actually have inventory space. There we go for that Amidice, but it is what it is. It is what it is. All right, let's just continue on. I'm out of inventory space. Let's just retrieve Zappy to come here and to actually do a number. So as you can see in this initial run, in my pocket's 160, 158. So I've nearly matched resource for resource, which is fan-bloody-tastic. That's obviously going to go a long way for me. So right now I can't actually collect anything else aside from standard essences actually, but I don't think I'm going to be picking up any of those standard essences unless if I'm engaged in a battle. So anyway, we'll continue on. But yeah, look, that's basically where I'm at. I'm just in a phase now where I'm just gathering resources, and I want to gather resources for that next update. Like I said, for a lot of you guys, you might be in a different spot. You're in a different stage of the game, which is totally cool. Focus. My advice is just focus on what you've got in front of you, and not trying to sort of catch up prematurely to other players, or even someone like me, for example. It's more going at your own speed and the way that you guys are able to play when you've got the availability to play. So like I said before, as I sort of alluded to earlier, the way that I play is I do it during my work commute. It's the best way for me to sort of pick up these things and do those grindy exercises, and I mix them up along the way so I don't sort of burn myself out in that sort of respect. I sort of try and keep it fresh. That's probably a good way of sort of explaining it. While I'm here, might as well see what we've got accessible now. So we've got level 3 storage boxes that we can do. I haven't upgraded any of these actually, to be fair, so haven't had the need to, and I probably won't do that until further down the line personally, but that's where we're at with things. And close to level 36, that will allow us to craft these things, but we can't because unfortunately tier 4 things are locked away because there's no tier 4 resources available. So yeah, you can't really do much about that, can you? But yeah, so for now I'm just sort of working my way through and trying to get the Aquadisk here, Aquadisk, as a hatched powerful Amikin. I really want to get this as well, and to be perfectly honest with you, the last few runs that I've done in the Starweed meadows is I haven't actually found physical eggs. I've just found resources or green eggs. Earth eggs to use the right terminology. So it's a bit of a bummer. So I feel like this is going to be more of a fable or more rarer, if that's even a word, Amikin, as opposed to the Aquadisk, which I feel like a lot of people are going to be going for because you're pretty much guaranteed a water egg every single time. So I feel like you might get lucky with some physical eggs. I'm sure a lot of you might have a lot further along than myself. But for me, I've only found the one, and that's been it so far. So yeah, it is what it is. But I don't frequent Starweed as often as I should to sort of try and, I guess, change the chance frequency, if that's even a thing. But yeah, I'm just going for the guaranteed item at the moment. So for now, until that happens, I'm sure that will change over time as well as updates come along. You know, this Amikin would be more accessible or available at a point. But it'd be interesting to see when that happens once the eggs hatch, once we do the 50. I assume that's just going to reset and you get the same powerful Amikin again, because you can actually fuse your evolutioned Amikins, but you need the same type of evolution Amikins, which leads me to another point where I reckon at some stage there's going to be evolved Amikins more in a freedom of a frequency where you can capture those straight up and then fuse them like you would like the standard variations or the first evolution of that Amikin, if that makes sense. So what I mean by that, let's use Winkle as an example. You can find Wispard in a couple of zones, one in Starweed and multiples in Stone Echoes. You can't catch them at the moment. That will change eventually, and then you'll be able to capture those and have a chance at capturing them, and then you can start fusing them to increase your Wispard, if that makes sense, as an example. So that obviously will come a much later rate down the line, because right now I don't believe anyone would be in their right mind, I would imagine, to go through the process, spending the gemlets to evolve, again, just using the example of Winkle, or even the Fawn into Blazehorn. I think that might be more of a better analogy, but you're not going to, get 5 versions of, well, you can't get 5 because there's so many Amikins that you would have to capture. You know what I'm trying to say here. You'd have to evolve it and then fuse that one into your main, and then so on and so forth. How long that will take, no one's going to do that. So eventually once this game improves and more content's released, I think that's going to relax later on, and then we're going to have the ability to have even more powerful Amikins. That's basically baseline what I'm sort of trying to get at. But anyway, I've kept you guys way too long here today. I just wanted to sort of get a lot of that stuff out and just sort of give you guys a bit of an idea on what I'm up to and what I'm sort of doing. And if you guys found this helpful or entertaining or interesting, make sure you leave a like, comment down below if you can, share if you're able to, and if you guys are new to the channel or not and you want to see more, be sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell icon so you don't miss out on any future videos. Alrighty guys, take it easy and I'll catch you guys in the next one.